Hello students, welcome to the Tantray physics classes. It is the 7th lecture on vectors. I have a few more examples of a little good level questions which are likely to be asked there in the exam for NEET and maybe for IIT even. And the examples are, I will be starting from number 1 and we'll go on and we'll see how many questions I am going to solve here on the board. And I'll be also giving you the link on WhatsApp so that you can ask questions and ask for queries if you have any. Okay, question number 1. On vectors. Suppose I have a unit vector that is 0.4i plus 0.8 j plus bk. This is a vector, 3-dimensional vector. Suppose it is a unit vector. Is a unit vector. Unit vector. It's given. It's a unit vector that is given. Question is, what is value of b? That is question. You already know the rules. You already know the definitions. You already know the formulas. So what to do with it? What is this unit vector? It is unit vector. Its magnitude has to be 1. So what is its magnitude? How to write its magnitude? That is 0.4 square plus 0.8 whole square plus b square root of that. This is the magnitude of this vector. That's equal to 1 is given. Now going a few steps, mathematical steps. How to do it? 0.4 square plus 0.8 whole square plus b square is equal to 1 if we square it. Here I will get b square is equal to 1 minus 0.4 square on the other side, that is 0.1616 plus 0.8 square, that is 0.64. So b square is equal to 1 minus this is again negative here. So it is 1 minus, it is 0. It is 6 plus 1 is 8, 0.8. It is b square is equal to 0.2, and now it is b equal to plus minus 0.2 root of this. That is the answer. That's the answer. So have a look. It is a unit vector given, and we are asked to find the value of b. You just have a magnitude of this vector that is given to be 1. Go through a few steps and get the answer. That's the first question. Second question on vectors. This is the last lecture on vectors. Question number 2. Displacement vector. Let me make a question. Displacement vector. Vector R changes from R1 is equal to 10 meters east to 10 meters north in 1 second. Okay, 2 seconds. What is average velocity? Average velocity. This is a question that I want to solve. First of all, I must give you the formula for average velocity. Average velocity, that is displacement by time interval. This is the displacement by time interval. Okay, instead of writing displacement vector, you can write position vector. It is also correct, but the terminology uses position vector. Change in position vector will give you the displacement vector. Okay, now here have a look. It is east, it is west, it is north, it is south. You have initial position vector in the east direction, that is R1 is equal to 10. Okay, if it is I, this is j, this is minus I, this is minus j, and in terms of coordinate system, it is 10 meters, and final position vector is r2, that is okay, again 10 meters in the j direction. One thing must be clear, that r1 and r2 is not the same, although their magnitudes are the same, but it is r1 in the east direction, it is r2 in the north direction. And also the magnitude is the same but direction is different, therefore r1 and r2 are different vectors. That's very important. Sometimes you feel it is the same vector. No, it has direction also. A vector is same, two vectors are equivalent only when their magnitude is same, their direction is same. If their magnitude is same, direction is different, it is a different vector. If directions are same, magnitude is different, again it is a different vector. For two vectors to be equal, their magnitude and direction both have to be equal, same. Okay, now what is delta r? Change in the position vector, that is r2 vector minus r1 vector. That is delta r is equal to, what is r2 vector? That is 10j. You can't write 10 only. If you write 10 here, that will make it 0. That will give a wrong answer. So r1 is 10I. Now what is the average velocity? V average. That is change delta r, that is 10j minus 10I. 10j minus 10I divided by time, that is 2 seconds. So average velocity is equal to, okay, it is 5j minus 5I. What is magnitude of average velocity? That is root of 25 plus 25. That is 25 plus 25. That is root of 50. Okay, that's 5 root 2. That is 5 root 2. That is the answer. And you can find the direction also. Theta is equal to tan inverse 5 by 5. That is tan inverse 1. That is 45 degrees. So this is a method. You have a vector in the I direction, then the vector changes to the y direction. You find in the change in the vector in a mathematical consistent way, and finally you find the change in position vector. That will give you how much change in position vector has taken place in 2 seconds and how much change in position vector has taken place in 1 second. That's why you have to divide by the time, and finally you get the average velocity. Okay, now third problem number third. Okay, third problem on vectors. Third problem on vectors. Okay, let me take an example. Two forces. This is a force of 10 dynes. It is a dyne is a unit for force in CGS system. There is one more force like this. It is also 10 dynes, and this is 60 degrees. I have to find the resultant of these two forces. You may attempt to believe, आपको लगेगा कि इन दो फोर्सेस के दरमियान जो एंगल है वो 60 है, और आप सॉल्व करना शुरू करेंगे, and in the end you will get a wrong answer. What is important? तो आपको दो फोर्सों के दरमियान जो एंगल है वो अच्छी तरह से देखना होगा, वो अच्छी तरह से निकालना होगा. यहां जो 60 है, it is a deception. It is not the angle between the two forces. क्योंकि ये जो फोर्स है ना, ये एरो, ये आगे जाकर एरो यूं बनेगा, यूं होगा एरो. तो एंगल इज आइदर बिटवीन टू एरोज और बिटवीन टू टेल्स. It is the angle between the arrow and the tail which is not acceptable. This angle is acceptable. That's 120. Now you can find the resultant of these two vectors. Resultant f root of, by usual formula that you have, f1 square plus f2 square plus 2 times f1 f2 cos of theta. That is the rule that we have learned in the first few lectures. तो क्या करेंगे आप? तो f को ऐसे ही लिखो, और it is root of, what is this f1 square? Okay, 10 square plus 10 square plus 2 into 10 इसका into 10 cos of 120. बिकॉज एंगल बिटवीन द टू फोर्सेस 120. यहां पर मैं फिर से बताऊंगा, कुछ स्टूडेंट समझते हैं कि एंगल 60 है, लेकिन उनको देखना होगा कि व्हाट इज द एक्चुअल एंगल बिटवीन द टू वेक्टर्स. ओके, नाउ f root of it is 10 square, that is 100 plus 100 plus 200 this into cos 120 minus 1 by 2. That you have to remember. Or you can find cos 120 is certainly minus 1 by 2. There are rules to find these trigonometric ratios. If you are a mathematics student, you already know much about it. But if you are a medical student, you have to make that table. And if I get time, I will certainly give you the rules, give you the techniques to remember these values. Okay, now f vector is equal to, it is 100 plus 100 minus 100. This cancels, it is 10 again. Resultant is 10 again. So it is very interesting. 10 plus 10 makes 10. This is how the vectors are. 10 plus 10 is 10. 10 plus 10 is 10. Now, fourth question. Fourth. There are three vectors, 30 Newton in west direction, 30 Newton in the west direction, 30 Newton in the west direction, good. Yes, these are three vectors, 30 north, 20 west, and 30 root to southwest. We have to find the resultant of these three vectors. Find the resultant of these three vectors. So what you do? Whenever there's east, west, north mention, you must always make this coordinate system like, and make this as east, this you write as west, this you write as north, this you write as south. Immediately do it. Whenever you have the mention of east, west, north, whatever, you just make it. And you know, on the right of my side is east, west, north, and south. Okay, but this north and south is just on the ground. It is not up and down. It's just on the ground. Okay, now it is 30 north. Okay, you can make it I, you can make it minus I, you can make it J, you can make it minus J. This is immediately you can write it. Okay, now it's 30 north. 30 north means this. Okay, now 20 west. 20 west means this. And 30 root 2 southwest. Southwest is this quadrant. And when you say southwest, 30 root 2 southwest means the vector is in between the two. It is 45 degrees either with west or with south. So it is 45. Okay, let me make it this 45. You can make this also 45, no problem. And this is 30 root 2. This you can make immediately, but you can do it other way around also mathematically. But this is also one of the methods. Now what you do is, this is J direction, this is minus I direction, okay. But what about this? This vector you have to resolve into two components, so that all the vectors either come in the x direction and in the y direction. So you make separate this vector into two components. So इस vector का इस direction में क्या component है? That is 30 root 2 cos 45. क्योंकि मैंने बताया जिस लाइन के साथ एंगल बना हो, डिफाइंड हो, उस डायरेक्शन में cos कंपोनेंट आ जाता है. What about this? It is 30 root 2 sin 45. It is 30 root 2 sin 45. Cos 45 root 2 cancels because cos 45 is 1 by 2. 1 by root 2. Sin 45 is 1 by root 2. That also cancels with this root 2. So what is the answer now? ये जो चीज है ये 30 डाउनवर्ड्स 30 अपवर्ड्स से कैंसिल आउट हो जाएगा. इसके जो दो पीस है, एक पीस इसके साथ कैंसिल हुआ बिकॉज दे आर अपोजिट नाउ, और एक पीस इसके साथ ऐड हो जाएगा. तो व्हाट इज द टोटल रिजल्टेंट? टोटल रिजल्टेंट इज 20 plus 30, that is 50. That is the answer. 50 units is the answer. And direction is minus west direction. That is obvious from here. So when you put in two components, this and this component cancels with this component. The two components add up to 20 already here in the west direction. 30 also comes in the west direction. 20 plus 30 is 50. So that is the answer. Okay. Question. Fifth one. If I make a question that is magnitude of A plus B is equal to magnitude of A minus B. This is a question, it's a given condition. My question, find theta between A and B. Find theta between A and B. So, what should we do? Okay, write the magnitude of this on the left side. There is root of, same as this, A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta is equal to root of A square plus B square minus 2AB cos of theta. Squaring root will go, it will be A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta is equal to A square plus B square minus 2AB cos of theta. A square goes off, B square goes off. इसको यहाँ शिफ्ट कीजिए, 2AB cos था राइट साइड में, जो लेफ्ट की ओर शिफ्ट हो जाएगा, तो ये हो जाएगा 4AB cos theta is equal to 0. On the right side nothing is left. तो इससे ये होगा cos theta जो है किसके इक्वल होगा? 0 के बराबर, बिकॉज 4AB तो 0 के बराबर होगा नहीं, cos theta ही होगा 0 के बराबर. तो theta is equal to, what should be theta? 90 degrees. That will make cos theta 0. So this is fifth question. Now the sixth question, sixth point. Three forces, 10 Newton, 20 Newton and 30 Newton. These are three forces. Act along three directions, three parallel directions, along three directions, parallel to the lines of an equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle. Find the resultant. This is the question. Three forces, 10, 20, 30, act along three directions parallel to the lines of an equilateral triangle. Find the resultant. Something like this. This is equilateral triangle. This is one line. This is another line. This is third line. This is equilateral triangle. Three directions. So 10 Newton is in this direction. 20 Newton is in this direction. And 30 Newton is in this direction. I have to find the resultant of these three vectors. But this 10, it has this direction, not the magnitude. This 20 Newton has this direction, not the magnitude. This 30 has this direction, not the magnitude. Otherwise, the magnitudes are equal of the equilateral triangle. So what is important is gives us the impression that it is 60, it is 60, it is 60. Now our question is how to find the resultant of these three vectors. How to do it without using mathematics? Can we do it in a simple way? Okay, let me redraw the forces. Let me get this vector here, this one. it will be cylinder parallel to itself. This is the force 10 Newton. And now there is one more force 20 Newton. What's the 20 Newton making with this 120? So if I put tail of this vector on the tail of this, not here but here. So what angle you should make with this 120? That is, this is 20, but it is 120 here. This 20 makes 120 with this 10 Newton, not this angle. It is forward direction and this direction is 120. Now third is tail is here, head is here. So I will select it parallel to itself like this. Parallel to itself like this. यूं करके ऐसे. तो ये यूं आ गया. मगर 30 Newton. Again it is 120 here. 120. This is equivalently made here. Here, tail of this vector is put on the head of this vector, but here tails are connected together. Okay, what's the resultant of all this? It is 10 here. It is 20. It's 30. If I make it like this, the trick that I will show you, if it is 10, it is 20. Isn't it 10 plus 10? Yes, it is. Isn't it 20 plus 10? Yes. Had it been 10 here, only 10 here, only 10 here, 10, 10 and 10, that would make 0. Because three vectors in the same plane, having same magnitude, at the angle of 120 with each other, its resultant is 0. If there are three vectors at an angle of 120 with each other in the same plane, magnitude of vector is the same, then their resultant is 0. This 10, ये 10 और ये 10, ये 30 को मैंने 20 plus 10 कर दिया. This 10, this 10, this 10 will be 0. So what remains? The only thing remains 10, this 10 and this 20. Other 10s make 0. So इसका रिजल्टेंट ये है, एक वेक्टर यहां से 10 है, दूसरा वेक्टर यहां से 20 है, तो बीच में एंगल 120 है. जो इस सारे का रिजल्टेंट निकालो, इसी का निकालो. ये भी एक टेक्निक है. 10, 10, 10, 0 and 10 and 20. Now make the resultant of this. The resultant is equal to root of 10 square plus this 20 square plus 2 times 10 into 20 to AB, which you call as cos of 120. So it is our resultant is equal to root of 100 plus 400 minus, because this 1 by 2 minus this 200. You go root of 5, you go, that is 300. You go, this is 10 root 3. Answer. That is the trick that we have played. 10 plus 10 plus, it is superposition principle. 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 0, remains 10 and 20, and I have found the resultant 10 and 20. That becomes very easy. There's one more technique, resolution of vectors technique. You can do that way also. Put it like this, one line here and other line here, then resolve this, it will be this and this, it will be this and this, these, find the resultant of this and this and this and this, you will get the answer. But this is a very straightforward technique. One more technique that you have learned. Seventh question that I am going to discuss with you. Okay. Seventh. On vectors, let me make a real-time problem of strings, because in strings mostly vectors are being used. Resolution of a vector, addition of vectors. So let me make it is a fixed stand here, and here is a string, here is a body pulled by this string and pulled one more string, and here is again a fixed stand, and body has mass m, therefore the weight is mg here. It is tension T1. Let me suppose the tension always acts away from the body. Here tension again acts away from the body. अगर ये body है तो ये string है, tension will be like this. ये ऐसा कभी नहीं कि tension may be like this. Tension is like always like this, away from the body, because tension always pulls. अगर एक body है, आपने इसको string connect किया रस्सी, तो आप इसको रस्सी से खींचोगे, खींच सकते हो. कि पुश करोगे स्ट्रिंग से, वो पुश कहाँ होगा, दैट विल स्लैग, वो पुश नहीं होगा, वो पुल होगा। इसलिए हम कहते हैं कि ये जो टेंशन फोर्स है, इट ऑलवेज एक्ट्स अवे फ्रॉम द बॉडी बिकॉज इट ऑलवेज पुल्स। ओके, नाउ सपोज इट इज 30 degrees. My question, find T1 by T2 using vector resolution. Find T1 by T2 using vector resolution. और लगे हाथ, अगर T1 भी निकाल सकते हो और T2 भी निकाल सकते हो। अच्छा, now see here what I will do, make this x axis, make this y axis. अगर ये थीटा 30 है तो ये भी 30 है, ये भी 30 है, तो आप T2 के दो पीस कर दो। यहां से पीस आएगा T2 cos 30, यहां का पीस आएगा T2 sin 30। अब चूंकि बॉडी रेस्ट में है या बॉडी इक्विलिब्रियम में है, तो इक्विलिब्रियम कंडीशन क्या होता है? व्हाट इज द इक्विलिब्रियम कंडीशन? इक्विलिब्रियम कंडीशन इज नेट फोर्स इज जीरो। इक्विलिब्रियम कंडीशन इज नेट फोर्स इज जीरो। तो नेट फोर्स जीरो होने के लिए क्या हम लिखेंगे? देखिए आप, T1 is equal to T2 sin theta 30. This force is equal to this force, this is equal to this. Or you can say T1 minus T2 sin theta is 0. Or T2 cos theta minus mg is 0. But alternatively क्या लिख सकते हैं आप? T1 इसके बराबर कर दो और T2 cos theta mg के बराबर कर दो, वो भी चलेगा। तो what is T1 by T2? That is sin 30 is equal to 1 by 2. You got the answer? और अगर आपको T2 भी चाहिए, T1 चाहिए, तो दूसरा इक्वेशन यूज कीजिए, दैट इज T2 cos 30 is equal to mg. So T2 is equal to mg by cos 30, that is mg divided by root 3 by 2 that I will make it here. What about T1? T1 is equal to T2, यहां पर जाएगा T2 by 2, T2 को यूज करो, ये यहां से दैट इज 2mg by root 3 हो गया T2, 2 अपना यहां पर, तो 2 कैंसल्स, mg by root 3. That's all. Easily done using vectors. So that is what I have been telling you. Vectors are used everywhere in physics, throughout the course of the physics. You do vectors as much as it is possible for you. But this was my last lecture on vectors. But you can raise the queries in my, you have a contact through me. I will give you the link of the WhatsApp, but I make a group of WhatsApp group. You make a WhatsApp group and you can raise queries in that group so that I can improve my lectures in the coming weeks and days. Thank you. But subscribe to my channel, Tantray Sir Physics Class.